You were not born to pay bills and die. You were not created to wander through life like a leaf blowing in the wind. There is something in you the world is waiting on. And if you don't discover it, we all lose something valuable, because when purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. Today, I'm going to give you 10 keys to unlock your personal success, not just for money, not just for fame, but to walk boldly in divine fulfillment. Write them down, meditate on them, because what I'm about to share will shift your life forever. 10 coisas teu personnel success. Understand your purpose. You were not born by accident. You didn't just show up one day. No matter what the circumstances of your birth were, whether planned or unplanned by human hands, your existence is intentional. There is something you were designed to do, something only you can bring to this world. But here's the tragedy. Many people go through life never discovering why they are here. They wake up, go to work, pay bills, and repeat the cycle until the end comes. They live by routine, not revelation. That's not living, that's existing. Purpose is the master key to personal success. It is the reason behind your existence. Without purpose, even your talents become meaningless. You could have the voice of an angel, but without purpose, you'll waste it singing in places that don't value you. You could have the mind of a genius, but if you don't know what your mind was created to solve, you'll end up solving problems that never fulfill you. Purpose is the original intent in the mind of the Creator for why a thing exists. That's why purpose is not something you decide, it's something you discover. Have you ever wondered why you're frustrated? Why certain jobs drain you? Why some environments feel like a prison even though everyone else is happy there? It's not because you're ungrateful. It's because your purpose is crying out for expression. Your soul knows you were made for more. That's why promotions don't satisfy if they're outside your calling. That's why applause feels empty when it's for something that doesn't match your inner design. You don't need more money, you need more meaning. Think of it like this. Imagine someone giving you the latest iPhone and telling you to use it as a hammer. You might get a nail or two in, but eventually the phone breaks, not because it wasn't powerful, but because it was used for something it was never made for. That's how many people live, breaking down under pressure, not because they're weak, but because they've never been introduced to their real purpose. Purpose gives pain a context. When you know why you're going through something, it gives you power to endure it. Athletes train for hours, endure blisters and bruises, but they keep going. Why? Because they have a purpose. The pain has a point. But when you're just drifting through life with no target, even small inconveniences feel like suffering. Purpose gives you the strength to push through seasons of delay and disappointment. Here's something to remember. You don't find purpose by looking around. You find it by looking within. Purpose is not found in your circumstances. It's hidden in your design. A fish doesn't need a swimming lesson. It just needs water. A bird doesn't need flying school. It just needs the sky. The moment you discover the environment you were designed for, you start to shine. What is that one thing you do that makes you come alive? What could you talk about for hours and never get bored? What problem do you feel deeply disturbed about when you see it in the world? Your purpose is often wrapped in those clues. Let me give you a daily life example. Have you ever seen someone who bakes cakes so well it makes you emotional? I mean, they don't just make food, they create art. You bite into it and suddenly your mood shifts, your soul lifts. That's not just cooking, that's calling, that's purpose. Now, someone else might look at that and say, it's just cake, but to the person living in purpose, it's ministry, it's mission, it's meaning. Or think about the teacher who goes the extra mile, not because of salary, but because they see destiny in their students. That's purpose in motion. That's someone who wakes up not just to go to work, but to make impact. That kind of living lights you up from the inside out. And when you meet someone walking in their purpose, you can feel it. They carry a presence. They don't just show up, they shift the atmosphere. Let me tell you something bold. Your job is not your purpose. Your title is not your purpose. Those are vehicles, not destinations. If you lose the job, your purpose remains. If you lose the title, the gift still lives in you. That's why purpose is power. Because it cannot be taken away. It can only be discovered and developed. But here's the warning: purpose demands responsibility. Once you know why you're here, you can't live like you don't. Once you've seen your assignment, distractions become dangerous. You can't let temporary people talk you out of permanent purpose. You can't let comfort talk you out of calling. Your purpose is bigger than your preferences. Purpose will call you to change your circle. It will demand new habits. It will make you uncomfortable, but it will also make you undeniable. People will look at your life and see the evidence of something greater. They won't be able to explain it, but they'll feel it. That's the power of living on purpose. When you step into alignment, everything around you begins to respond. So here's the real question. Are you willing to go through the discomfort of discovering yourself? Are you willing to peel back the layers of fear, doubt, and other people's opinions to find out who you really are? Because if you do, the world will never be the same again. And neither will you. Capture a clear vision. Vision is not a luxury. It is a necessity. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there, and you'll end up somewhere you never intended to be. Vision is the ability to see beyond your eyes. It's the picture of your destiny that is so real in your mind, you can almost touch it. Without vision, life becomes a series of distractions, detours, and dead ends. Vision is not daydreaming. Vision is purpose in pictures. It is direction in your spirit. It is the map your soul follows, even when things around you make no sense. A person without vision wakes up with no expectation. They live from paycheck to paycheck, not from purpose to purpose. They tolerate relationships, jobs, and environments that drain them because they don't have a destination strong enough to pull them out. When you have no vision, you become a slave to circumstances. You accept what comes instead of pursuing what's possible. And let me tell you something, what's possible is always bigger than what's present. But you'll never access it if you can't see it first. Vision changes the way you respond to life. When you have vision, you don't chase money, you chase meaning. You don't fight for attention, you focus on intention. You don't try to fit in, you stand out because your destination demands it. Vision gives you the power to say no to good so you can say yes to best. It teaches you that not every opportunity is a blessing, some are distractions dressed in favor. Vision clarifies your yes and empowers your no. Think about GPS for a moment. Before you can get directions, you have to put in a destination. The system doesn't care where you start from, it just needs to know where you're going. That's how life works. Your past doesn't matter as much as your future. The issue is never where you are, it's where you're headed. But if you don't input your vision, life won't reroute you when you get lost. You'll just drift from street to street, relationship to relationship, job to job, with no clear path to fulfillment. Here's the powerful truth. You cannot rise above what you can't see. If your vision is small, your life will shrink to match it. If your vision is shallow, your decisions will reflect that. But if your vision is expansive, daring, and bold, everything in you will stretch to reach it. Vision gives pain a purpose. You can endure the storm if you know there's a destination beyond the clouds. You can survive the criticism, the betrayal, the delay, because vision gives you something worth fighting for. Have you ever met someone who lights up when they talk about their dream? Their whole energy shifts, their eyes sparkle, their voice lifts. That's vision at work. It ignites something on the inside that circumstances can't shut down. A man with vision can lose everything and still get it back. Why? Because vision is internal. It can't be repossessed. They can take your car, your house, your position, but they can't steal what you see. And what you see determines who you become. Think about a construction site. Before the first brick is laid, there's a blueprint. You can walk by and see dirt, wires, pipes, chaos, but the architect sees a 5-star hotel. The builder sees a skyscraper. While others see mess, the visionary sees movement. That's what vision does. It lets you see beyond the process to the promise. That's why people with vision are often misunderstood. They speak about things that haven't happened yet. They prepare for things no one else can see. But eventually, when the building rises, everyone understands. Your life is your project. Your vision is the blueprint. Without one, you'll spend years building someone else's dream while neglecting your own. You'll serve another man's mountain while yours remains untouched. The danger is not failure. The danger is success in the wrong assignment. Because success without vision is just busy motion. You were made for more than business. You were made for impact. Let me give you an example. Picture a young woman who always loved fashion, not because of trends, but because of how clothes made people feel. While others dressed to impress, she dressed to express. Her heart burned with a dream to open a fashion line that celebrated every body type, every skin tone, every culture. But she worked a regular job, 9 to 5, barely making ends meet. Still, every night, she'd sketch designs. She'd study fabrics. She'd watch YouTube tutorials. People laughed. Her coworkers mocked. "You still doing that little design thing?" They'd say. But she kept her eyes on the vision. She wasn't moved by opinions. She was anchored in intention. Fast forward 5 years, her brand is global. Her clothes are on runways and TV. And the same people who laughed, they're now asking for discounts. What made the difference? Vision. She saw what others couldn't see. She built what others couldn't imagine. That's the power of a clear vision. It takes you from obscurity to impact, from ridicule to respect, from background to center stage, not because you chased applause, but because you stayed faithful to the picture in your spirit. The greatest tragedy is not blindness, it's sight without vision. Many people see with their eyes but have no direction in their soul. That's why they complain more than they create, criticize more than they contribute. They focus on what is instead of what could be. But visionaries are different. They look at a desert and see a garden. They look at a rough draft and see a masterpiece. They look at their reflection in the mirror, not for who they are, but for who they are becoming. Develop self-discipline. Self-discipline is not a punishment. It is a passport to greatness. Every person you admire, every legend you quote, every success story you celebrate has one thing in common. the ability to say no to themselves. You don't need more motivation, you need more discipline. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going when the feeling fades. And it always fades. There are mornings when you won't feel like waking up, moments when quitting looks more appealing than continuing. But discipline steps in when emotions check out. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to do it. It's saying no to the donut when you're on a fitness journey. It's staying in to study when your friends are going out. It's waking up at 5 a.m. to write the book that no one asked for yet, but you know it's inside you. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's the secret to glory. It's not exciting, but it's effective. It doesn't give applause, but it builds legacy. Think about a professional athlete. You see the medals, the sponsorships, the fame, but what you don't see are the 5 a.m. training sessions, the meal plans, the injuries, the tears, the days when their body screamed, rest, but their purpose whispered, push. That's discipline. That's what separates winners from wishers. The difference between people who talk about dreams and those who live them is consistency wrapped in discipline. In daily life, you've seen it. The colleague who always meets deadlines, not because they have more time, but because they manage their time better. The student who gets top grades, not because they're smarter, but because they control distractions. The parent who raises responsible children, not because they're lucky, but because they practiced what they preached. That's discipline. And it doesn't show up in loud moments, it shows up in private decisions. The world sees results. Discipline is the process behind the curtain. Here's the truth. Your future is hidden in your daily routine. Show me your habits and I'll show you your future. If you check your phone before you check your goals, if you scroll more than you study, if you binge more than you build, don't be surprised when success stays a stranger. Discipline demands that you dominate your day before your day dominates you. And don't make the mistake of thinking discipline is about restriction. No, discipline is the highest form of freedom. It frees you from the chaos of indecision. It frees you from regret. It frees you from mediocrity. When you are disciplined, you don't need to be reminded. You become self-led. You don't need external pressure because you've got internal power. Let me give you a story. There was a man who wanted to become a world-class speaker. He had the voice, the passion, the talent, but he stuttered. He was ridiculed. People laughed at him. He could have quit. He could have said, "This isn't for me." But instead, he committed to discipline. Every day, he practiced speeches in front of a mirror. He read books out loud to train his tongue. He recorded himself for hours. He didn't wait for opportunities. He prepared for them. Years later, he stood on stages across the globe, captivating crowds who once would have doubted his ability. What changed? Not his talent, it was always there. What changed was his level of discipline. Maybe you have a gift too. You can write, sing, build, invent, inspire. But if you don't discipline your gift, it will decay. Talent is a seed, discipline is the water. Talent can open a door, discipline keeps you in the room. So many people get one opportunity and waste it because they never train for sustainability. Don't just chase success, prepare to handle it when it comes. That takes discipline. And yes, discipline is uncomfortable. It stretches you, it breaks patterns, it rewires your instincts, but it also upgrades your life. Every time you say no to a distraction, you're saying yes to your destiny. Every time you delay gratification, you're investing in something bigger. Every early morning, every extra hour, every finished task, it adds up. And the compound effect of daily discipline is unstoppable. There's a reason why people admire monks, soldiers, athletes, and masters of their craft. It's not just what they do, it's how they live. They've trained themselves to go beyond feelings and into focus. And if you're going to build anything that lasts, a business, a family, a calling, you need that same grit, because storms will come, critics will come, delays will come, but discipline will keep you rooted when everything else tries to shake you. You don't need to be extraordinary to begin. You just need to begin with consistency. Discipline is not about being perfect, it's about being committed. Even when you fail, you get back up. Even when you fall behind, you reset the course. Because in the end, nobody remembers how many times you fell. They remember that you finished. And behind every finisher is a life of self-discipline. Maximize your time. Time is not money. Time is life. When you waste time, you're not losing minutes, you're trading moments of your destiny. Every second that slips through your fingers is a part of your potential dissolving into nothing. Time is the most precious, non-renewable resource you will ever possess. You can get more money, you can find new friends, you can buy new clothes, but you will never get back a wasted hour. That's why successful people don't just spend time, they invest it. And what you invest in reveals what you truly value. Maximizing your time isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. We live in a world addicted to business. People glorify hustle, celebrate exhaustion, and wear stress like a badge of honor. But productivity without purpose is just performance. Being busy doesn't mean you're being effective. You can be moving fast and going nowhere. You can have a packed schedule and an empty soul. That's why you need to step back and ask yourself, am I doing things that move me toward my purpose, or am I just passing time? Look around your life. What is stealing your time? Is it endless scrolling on your phone? Is it meaningless conversations with people who don't add value to your vision? Is it overcommitment to things that have nothing to do with your assignment? Time thieves don't always look like distractions. Sometimes they look like good things, safe things, familiar things. But if it doesn't feed your purpose, it's starving your future. Learn to say no without apology. Protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Think of a garden. Every seed you plant represents a decision about your time. Some seeds grow into fruit, some into flowers, some into weeds. The weeds don't announce themselves. They grow quietly, slowly, and then before you know it, they're choking the life out of everything valuable. That's what unchecked habits do to your time. That's what aimless relationships do. That's what meaningless entertainment does. You don't lose your future overnight. You lose it 5 minutes at a time. Maximizing time means mastering your moments. And that starts with intentional living. Wake up on purpose. Move on purpose. Speak on purpose. Plan your day like your life depends on it, because it does. Don't leave your hours up to chance. If you don't fill your calendar with purpose, someone else will fill it with theirs. Your time is a magnet, and if you don't direct it, it will attract anything and everything except what truly matters. Let's talk real life. You know someone who always seems to be moving forward, even in silence. They don't broadcast their goals on social media. They don't need validation. They just keep building. While others are watching shows, they're writing chapters. While others are sleeping in, they're training, learning, refining. They aren't smarter. They're more intentional. They use every minute as if it's a key to their future, because it is. And that mindset doesn't just create success, it creates legacy. And maybe you're sitting there thinking, but I don't have time. No, you do. What you really mean is, I haven't made time for what matters most. You have 24 hours, just like the billionaire, the author, the inventor, the artist. The difference isn't the hours, it's how they're used. Your time management is a reflection of your self-management. Your calendar is a mirror to your character. Don't tell me your priorities, show me your schedule. And don't think you have forever. Time doesn't wait for your readiness. Opportunities don't linger for procrastinators. Life doesn't pause until you feel motivated. The clock is ticking, and every tick is either a step toward greatness or a slip into regret. The tragedy is not that life is short, it's that we spend so much of it doing things that don't matter. You don't need more time, you need more clarity, more focus, more fire. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who worked a regular job, dreamed of starting a business, and always said, someday. He had notebooks full of ideas, but every time he sat down to work, distractions won. I'm tired, I'll start tomorrow. One more episode, just 5 more minutes online. Days turned to months, months turned to years. And one day he looked up and realized his dream didn't die. He just let time steal it. Contrast that with another person. Same job, same responsibilities. But every day after work, she gave herself 2 hours to build her dream. No excuses, no complaints. She turned off her phone. She locked in. She worked in silence. And while nobody was watching, something was growing. And when the time came, when opportunity knocked, she was ready. She didn't need to get ready because she stayed ready. And now the world calls her lucky. But it wasn't luck. It was discipline multiplied by time. So ask yourself, what are you doing with your 24? Are you wasting it or investing it? Are you creating or consuming? Are you building your dream or watching someone else live theirs? Time is the one currency that demands respect. If you don't manage it, it will manage you. And it won't ask your permission before it runs out. Be ruthless with distractions. Be obsessed with your priorities. Learn to track your minutes like gold, because every second that passes is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. Use your potential fully. You were never born empty. You came into this world preloaded with potential. Before you had a name, before you had a job, before anyone gave you a title, you were already carrying seeds of greatness. But here's the tragedy: most people die full of dreams they never chased, full of songs they never sang, full of books they never wrote, full of inventions they never built, full of businesses they never launched. Why? Because they never used their potential fully. Your potential is not what you've done. It's what you're still capable of doing. And that is a frightening and beautiful truth. That means you haven't even scratched the surface of who you could become. You haven't met your final form. You haven't seen your highest self. But you will never meet that version of you unless you're willing to demand more from yourself than the world expects. The graveyard is not filled with failures. It's filled with people who settled too early. Don't be one of them. You've got to understand something. Potential is silent. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't beg for attention. It's buried deep inside, waiting for your discipline to activate it. You don't find potential by accident. You unlock it through decision. That's why your life will never rise above your choices. If you choose ease, your potential stays dormant. If you choose comfort, your greatness stays in hiding. But when you choose pressure, growth, sacrifice, and effort, something begins to awaken. Let me bring it home. Think of a battery. It's packed with stored energy, but unless it's connected, it stays useless. Your potential is just like that. You can sit with talent, wisdom, ideas, vision, but if you don't connect it to action, it means nothing. Your potential doesn't serve you unless you activate it. So don't just be a warehouse of ability. Become a distribution center of results. You've seen it in your own life. People who had every gift, every advantage, every opportunity, and yet did nothing with it. Meanwhile, others had less talent, less privilege, but they had hunger, they had focus, they stretched what they had, they maximized what others ignored. Because the truth is, you don't need more resources, you need more resolve. You don't need more talent, you need more tenacity. Your job is to become the person who uses everything you've been given. If you can speak, then speak life. If you can write, then write truth. If you can lead, then lead with integrity. If you can build, then build with purpose. Don't downplay your gift just because it doesn't look like someone else's. Your potential is yours, not theirs. Stop comparing, start cultivating. I remember a man who worked a low-paying job cleaning offices at night. No one noticed him. People thought he had no ambition. But what they didn't know was that he carried a notebook everywhere. Every break he wrote. Every night he studied business. He used every quiet hour to build something that lived inside him. Years later, he started his own cleaning company. He trained others. He grew his business across the city. And when asked how he did it, he said, "I refuse to bury my gift in excuses." That's what it means to use your potential fully. You don't wait for ideal, you build in the real. Potential is not limited by environment. It is limited by belief. Some of the greatest minds came from places that looked like nothing. Some of the boldest leaders were raised in poverty, in struggle, and rejection, but they understood something most don't. They were not a product of their environment. They were a product of their decision to grow beyond it. You've got ideas that scare you. That's good. That means they're worth doing. You've got dreams that feel too big. Perfect. That means they're not coming from your ego, they're coming from your assignment. But those ideas and dreams mean nothing if they stay locked inside your head. You've got to put pressure on your potential. Test it, train it, stretch it. Greatness never emerges without a fight. Let's talk daily life. How do you use your potential fully? You wake up with intention. You don't scroll aimlessly. You don't waste words on gossip. You read, you learn, you grow, you serve. You show up like your name has value, because it does. You take every conversation seriously, every task with excellence, every meeting as an opportunity. Even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching, the world doesn't owe you recognition, but your gift owes you results. So show up, do the work, practice until it's second nature, study until you master it, push until your muscles scream, your mind resists, and your spirit takes over. Because the moment you start using your full potential, you'll feel it, that burn, that alignment, that fire that tells you this is who I really am. You were not created to blend in. You were not born to be average. You carry something this world needs, and if you keep it buried, you rob the world of your contribution. Use your story, use your pain, use your failure, use your experience. Don't waste it, don't hide it, don't die with it still inside you. Be a person of integrity. Integrity is not a word, it's a weapon against compromise, a weapon against shortcuts, a weapon against self-destruction. In a world where character is often traded for clout, where truth is sacrificed on the altar of likes and follows, integrity is rare, but it is powerful. It is the invisible force that builds unshakable credibility. You may not always be the most talented, the loudest, or the most connected, but if you are a person of integrity, you will always rise. Because integrity travels faster than reputation, and it lasts longer than charisma. To be a person of integrity means to be whole. It means you are the same behind closed doors as you are in public. It means your words carry weight because they are backed by action. It means you don't have to scream to be trusted. Your life speaks loud enough. Integrity is when your shadow matches your shape. There are no double versions of you. You don't wear masks for meetings, another for friends, and another when you're alone. You walk in truth even when it's unpopular, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it costs you. And yes, integrity will cost you. It will cost you friendships that were built on lies. It will cost you opportunities that require compromise. It will cost you popularity in a world that celebrates manipulation. But hear me, what integrity costs you in the short term, it pays back in peace, credibility, and legacy. Because people may admire your talent, but they will only trust your character, and trust is the currency of influence. Let's bring this down to real life. Have you ever worked with someone who always cuts corners, lies to get ahead, cheats the system, makes excuses, and pretends they're someone they're not? At first, they may seem like they're winning, but time always exposes the truth, because when storms come, and they always do, only what was built with integrity will stand. You don't test a foundation in the sunshine, you test it in the rain. And people of integrity don't fear storms because they know their structure is solid. Integrity means doing the right thing even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. It's in how you handle money, how you treat the waiter, how you speak about others when they're not in the room, how you follow through when it would be easier to back out. It's in returning the extra change, even when you need the money. It's in choosing honesty, even when a lie could save your image. It's in refusing to gossip, even when everyone else is doing it. Integrity is not what you say. It's who you are when it's inconvenient. I remember hearing about a man who was offered a huge promotion at his job, more money, more prestige, more visibility. But the role would have required him to manipulate numbers, to be quiet about unethical practices. Most people would have taken the deal, but he walked away. People called him foolish. But years later, the company collapsed in scandal and everyone involved was exposed. That man, he went on to build his own company with clean hands and a clear name because he understood something most people forget. A dirty opportunity will always leave a stain. Some of you are being tempted right now to compromise, to cut just one little corner, to bend your values just once. But hear this, if you have to become someone else to get it, you'll have to keep being someone else to keep it. That is a prison, not a promotion. Anything gained through deception must be maintained through deception. But when you build with integrity, you sleep at night, you walk tall, you speak freely because your conscience is clear. Integrity attracts loyalty. People will follow a flawed leader before they follow a fake one. They don't expect you to be perfect. They expect you to be real. Authenticity builds bridges that talent can't, because deep down, everyone is looking for someone they can trust. Someone who means yes, someone who doesn't shift with the wind, someone who isn't for sale. Be that person and watch how doors begin to open, not because of manipulation, but because of magnetism. Integrity makes you magnetic in a noisy, untrustworthy world. And don't think for a second that integrity is weakness. It takes strength to stand firm when everything around you is shaking. It takes courage to tell the truth when a lie is more convenient. It takes grit to walk away from fast success and choose the long, slow road of honor. But the long road lasts, the shortcuts don't. Integrity is how you keep what you've built. It's how you last when others fade. It's how your name becomes a legacy instead of a cautionary tale. And let's be honest, your life is speaking. Every day, whether you know it or not, you are telling the world what kind of person you are. The way you handle pressure, the way you treat people with no power, the way you show up when you're tired, the way you respond when you're wrong. All of it reveals your core, and your core matters more than your image. Your core is your compass, and if that compass is broken, no amount of success will keep you from eventually getting lost. But when your core is strong, when integrity is your default, you will find yourself in rooms you didn't even ask for simply because people can feel they can trust you. They don't have to second guess you. They don't have to wonder who they're talking to. They know that when you say something, you mean it. That's power. That's leadership. That's legacy. Embrace continuous learning. Learning is not something you graduate from. It is not a phase of life. It is the very fuel of life. The moment you stop learning, you stop growing. And the moment you stop growing, you start dying. Internally, spiritually, mentally. Some people haven't picked up a book in years, haven't sought a new skill, haven't fed their mind with anything beyond entertainment, and they wonder why their life feels stuck. The truth is simple. The quality of your life will never rise higher than the quality of your thinking. And your thinking can only expand if you keep learning. You were not created to be static. You are not a statue. You are a living, breathing, evolving being. That means your brain was designed to stretch. Your mind was wired to explore. But comfort kills curiosity. And the tragedy is, many people confuse comfort with success. Just because you're not being challenged doesn't mean you've arrived. It might just mean you've settled. Every single breakthrough in your life will be preceded by a new level of learning. Whether it's a new mindset, a new strategy, a new connection, you must expose yourself to more. That's why every level demands a different version of you. You cannot enter tomorrow with yesterday's knowledge and expect to thrive. The business world changes. Relationships evolve. Technology shifts. Cultures move. And only those who are willing to keep learning will keep leading. Learning doesn't always come through lectures and libraries. Sometimes life is the best teacher. Every mistake carries a message. Every failure is a classroom. Every heartbreak is a textbook. Every rejection has a lesson hidden inside it. But here's the thing only the humble learn. The proud remain stuck. You cannot learn if you think you already know. You can't grow if you believe you've arrived. That's why the most dangerous mindset isn't ignorance, it's arrogance. You've got to be hungry to learn, starving, desperate even, like your future depends on it, because it does. Look around you. The people at the top of their industries, the best in their fields, the ones who inspire millions, they never stop learning. They are students for life. They consume books, podcasts, mentors, courses. They ask questions. They challenge their own assumptions. And that's why they keep evolving. That's why they stay relevant. I remember a man who lost his job after 20 years in the same position. He had no degree, no certifications, no updated skills. He thought his experience was enough, but the world changed around him. While he was surviving, others were upgrading. And in the end, he realized the hard truth. Consistency without learning leads to irrelevance. So he went back to school at age 49. He learned how to code. He took night classes. He listened to audiobooks on his commute. And today, he runs his own tech consulting firm. Why? Because he humbled himself enough to start over and learn again. You might say, I don't have time to learn. But the truth is, you don't have time not to. Learning isn't extra, it's essential. You've got 24 hours like everyone else. The difference is how you invest them. 5 minutes a day reading something new. 10 minutes listening to a mind-shifting podcast instead of mindless scrolling. Replacing passive entertainment with active education, that's how you start. Little by little, the gap between where you are and where you want to be begins to close. And don't just learn for knowledge, learn for transformation. Learn so that your thinking becomes sharper, so that your speech carries wisdom, so that your decisions reflect maturity. Some people are filled with information but empty of revelation. Don't just know quotes, apply them. Don't just hear advice. Live it. Knowledge is potential power, but applied knowledge is what turns potential into performance. You've got to challenge yourself. Pick a subject you know nothing about and dive in. Learn a language, study a new market, understand your body, expand your emotional intelligence, train your discipline, read biographies of legends and leaders, take notes, stretch your mind. If your circle is not challenging your thinking, you're sitting in a mental prison. Surround yourself with people who talk about vision, not just gossip, with those who debate ideas, not just criticize others. The world is moving fast, and if you're not learning, you're being left behind. Think about this. Your competition is reading. Your future partner is evolving. Your next boss is already leveling up. Your breakthrough is hiding behind a lesson you've been avoiding. And it's time to chase wisdom like your destiny depends on it, because it does. And don't be afraid of what you don't know. Be afraid of staying the same. The person who's not willing to learn is choosing to remain bound. But when you commit to lifelong learning, no limitation can hold you. You become adaptable, resilient, empowered, because knowledge is not just information, it's freedom. The more you learn, the more options you create. The more you grow, the more impact you can have. There are doors that will only open because you learned the right key. Conversations that will only happen because you understood the language. Rooms that will only receive you because you prepared through learning. So don't just dream, study. Don't just wish, train. Don't just plan, practice. Learning is not a luxury. It is the price of transformation. Protect your environment, because your environment is not neutral. It's shaping you even when you're not aware of it. The space you live in, the people you talk to, the energy you absorb, the voices you listen to daily, they are either feeding your growth or starving it. Some people are struggling in life not because they lack potential, but because they are planted in the wrong soil. You cannot expect to flourish in a place filled with toxins. You can't grow when everything around you is pulling you backward, drowning your passion, choking your vision, and silencing your voice. Look around your life. Who are you constantly surrounded by? Are they speaking faith or fear? Do they fan your fire or put it out? Do they challenge you to rise, or do they mock your growth? Listen carefully. Not everyone around you is good for you. Some people carry poison in their words. Others drain your spirit just by walking into the room. If every time you share a dream, someone shoots it down, you're not in an environment of faith. You're in a pit of limitation. And if you stay there too long, you will start lowering your voice just to avoid conflict. You'll stop dreaming big just to fit in. You'll shrink your calling to keep others comfortable. That's why you must become fierce about protecting your environment. Because success is not just about talent, it's about atmosphere. A seed will never grow into a tree if it's planted in concrete. You might have all the potential in the world, but if you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, and mediocrity, your growth will be stunted. You can't afford to be casual about what you allow into your ears, your eyes, your heart. Your future is too valuable to be exposed to pollution. It's not just about people, it's about what you watch, what you read, what you scroll through. You say you want peace, but you're following chaos. You say you want clarity, but your feed is filled with confusion. You say you want joy, but you keep playing sad songs and replaying old trauma like a highlight reel. Protecting your environment means being intentional about what you consume mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You wouldn't drink dirty water, so why do you allow toxic media to flow into your mind all day? I remember someone who was full of passion, talent, and purpose. But every time they tried to level up, their friends would laugh. You think you're better than us now, they would say. Why are you working so hard? Nobody cares about that stuff. At first, he brushed it off. But over time, their words started sinking in. He began to second-guess himself. His fire dimmed, his ideas stayed on paper. One day, he realized he wasn't the problem, his environment was. So he made the hard choice. He distanced himself. He found mentors instead of critics. He replaced mockers with motivators. And within a year, his whole life changed. Not because his skills improved overnight, but because he finally had the air to breathe. You see, eagles don't hang out with pigeons. Not because they're arrogant, but because they fly at different altitudes. You're not better than anyone, but your destiny may require a different level of focus, a different pace, a different circle. And if you keep trying to fit into places you've outgrown, you will suffocate your own greatness. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is no more. No more to draining relationships. No more to distractions. No more to spaces where you have to dim your light to be accepted. Even in your home, your room, your desk, your car, make it a sanctuary for growth. Clean spaces clear the mind. Order invites clarity. Light attracts energy. When you walk into a space that's peaceful, that's inspiring, that's full of reminders of who you are and where you're going, your spirit responds. Protecting your environment isn't just about who's around you. It's about what you allow to surround you. Some people are waiting for motivation to show up, but motivation flows naturally in a healthy environment. You don't need a motivational speech every morning. You need a space where negativity doesn't lie rent-free. You need boundaries, not just goals. You need vision boards, not gossip sessions. You need encouragement, not envy. A positive environment doesn't mean life is perfect. It means that even in the storms, you're in a place that helps you stay anchored. If your dream is big, your environment must be strong. A skyscraper cannot be built on shaky ground. Some of you are trying to build $1,000,000 visions in $5 rooms. And I'm not just talking about money, I'm talking about mindset, energy, atmosphere. It's okay to walk away from environments that no longer serve your growth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing peace. You don't have to apologize for choosing silence over chaos. Pruning. Progress demands decisions, and sometimes elevation starts with separation. Take inventory of your life. Who adds fuel? Who drains it? What voices bring clarity? What voices inspire you? What places make you feel small? Life is too short to spend it in polluted spaces. You were born to rise, but rising requires air. Rising demands space. Rising means you say goodbye to whatever keeps you grounded. So protect your environment like your life depends on it, because it does. Serve with excellence, not because people are watching, because greatness is your standard. When you understand who you are, you don't wait for applause to give your best. You give your best because it's who you are, not because it's convenient. Excellence is not perfection. It's a mindset, a spirit, a commitment to leave everything better than you found it. And in a world full of shortcuts, mediocrity, and bare minimum effort, excellence is your difference maker. Excellence is what separates noise from legacy. If you sweep streets, sweep like you're painting the gates of heaven. If you work in a store, fold clothes like they're garments for royalty. If you write emails, craft them with clarity, precision, and integrity. Excellence isn't about position. It's about posture. It's how you show up in the little things that determines if you're ready for the big things. People often wait for a promotion to work hard. But that's backwards. You don't get elevated, then serve well. You serve well, and that's what gets you elevated. I've seen people stuck in life, not because of lack of talent, but because of lack of excellence. They have vision, but no discipline. They have dreams, but no standard. And every time life gives them a small opportunity, they fumble it because they didn't respect it. Listen, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you cut corners in the unseen places, don't be surprised when the big doors remain closed. Excellence is what you do when no one is clapping. It's the invisible effort behind visible success. One young man worked at a restaurant bussing tables. While others were distracted, scrolling their phones or dragging their feet, he moved with purpose. He wiped each table with intention, stacked plates quickly, but neatly smiled at customers, and even helped the servers when he wasn't required to. One day, the regional manager visited unannounced. She noticed his spirit, his pace, his posture. A few weeks later, he was promoted, not because he asked, but because excellence spoke for him. See, when you serve with excellence, you don't need to beg for recognition. Your work will announce you. Excellence is louder than ambition. It's the sound of consistency, of integrity, of honor. It builds trust, it creates influence, and influence opens doors that hustle alone can't. People may not always remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel through your standard. We live in a world where many want the crown, but few want to carry the cross of discipline. Many want the stage but avoid the rehearsal. They want the fruit but ignore the root. But the root is excellence. It's unseen, but it's where your greatness grows. It's waking up early to prepare. It's staying late to fix the details. It's reviewing your work not once, but twice, because your name is attached to it. It's replying to emails with kindness even when you're tired. It's giving 100% even when you're paid for 50%. Because excellence isn't about compensation, it's about character. You don't need a title to lead with excellence. You just need the right mindset. Some people say, when I get that job, I'll step up. When I get my chance, I'll go all in. But what they don't realize is your chance ice, how you're showing up now. The hallway is part of the palace. The backstage is part of the platform. If you despise the small things, you'll never master the big ones. Excellence demands sacrifice. It demands that you show up even when your emotions tell you not to. It means you care more about impact than ease. It means you proofread that paper, even if you're sleepy. It means you take responsibility, not make excuses. It means you correct mistakes quickly instead of blaming others. Why? Because everything you touch should carry the fingerprint of greatness. You don't represent laziness, you represent excellence. It's in your DNA. I once heard of a janitor in a hospital who was so meticulous in his work, so joyful in his attitude, that patients began requesting him by name. Not because he gave them medicine, not because he had a title, but because his excellence healed more than just the floors. It healed the atmosphere. You might think your work is small, but excellence makes even the smallest task significant. You are not average, so don't operate like you are. You are not called to blend in, so don't settle for mediocrity just because others are. People may mock your high standards, but those same people will be the first to ask for your help when they need results. Excellence isn't just about outcomes, it's about mindset. It says, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it with all my heart. No half effort, no lazy shortcuts, no sloppy energy. Full effort, full presence, full integrity. Excellence doesn't require perfection, but it does require intention. It means you pause before you post, you review before you speak, you train before you act. You treat every assignment like it's preparing you for your future, because it is. The world doesn't reward what you want. It rewards what you walk out. And what you walk out consistently and excellently will eventually shout so loud it can't be ignored. So show up early, leave a mark, speak with clarity, dress with purpose, respond with honor, lead with humility, serve with passion. Because when you carry a spirit of excellence, you become unforgettable. You become the one who turns heads not with noise, but with presence. Not with hype, but with depth. Excellence is not an act, it's a lifestyle. It's not something you do occasionally. It's who you are daily. Leave a legacy. Leaving a legacy is not about accumulating wealth or fame. It's about the impact you leave behind, the lives you touch, and the seeds you plant for future generations. A legacy isn't just something you leave, it's something you live. It's the way you move through the world, how you treat people, how you face adversity, and the example you set for those who come after you. You are writing your legacy with every action, every word, and every decision you make. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have made a lasting impact on the world. Do they have vast wealth? Maybe. Do they have recognition? Probably. But more than that, what they have is influence. They touch lives in ways that change the course of people's futures. That's the essence of leaving a legacy, how you influence the world and how the world remembers you. It's not about being remembered for your success. It's about being remembered for your heart, your character, your sacrifices, and the way you showed up in the lives of others. Every day, you are building your legacy. Whether you realize it or not, the way you show up in the world is leaving an imprint on the hearts of others. You may not have a worldwide platform, but that doesn't mean your influence is any less powerful. Legacy isn't reserved for the famous or the wealthy. It's for anyone who chooses to live with purpose, to give beyond themselves, and to be a beacon of light to those around them. Consider the story of someone who has dedicated their life to teaching. They may not have been rich, they may not have been celebrated by the masses, but the way they poured into the lives of their students left a mark that can never be erased. Maybe they inspired one student to chase their dreams, or helped another student believe in themselves when they didn't feel worthy. These small, seemingly insignificant moments add up over time to create a legacy. A teacher who touches just one life in a meaningful way has changed the course of history, even if they never get a plaque or an award. And that's the power of legacy. Now, think about the legacy you're leaving today. Are you being intentional about it? Are you living your life in a way that will make a difference long after you're gone? Or are you getting caught up in the business of life and focusing only on the immediate? Every moment you spend complaining, being bitter, or focusing on your own struggles is a moment you're not building your legacy. It's so easy to get lost in the day, today, grind and forget that the moments we have now are the ones that will define us in the future. There's a story of a man who spent years building a successful business. He worked hard, made sacrifices, and achieved many of his goals. But in the process, he neglected his relationships. He didn't spend time with his family, and his friends grew distant because of his obsession with success. In the end, when he retired and looked back at his life, he realized he had built an empire, but he had no one to share it with. His legacy wasn't one of love or connection, it was one of isolation. His success was great, but the relationships he neglected were priceless. That's the danger of living without intention when it comes to legacy. It's easy to get caught up in external achievements, but the real legacy comes from how we show up in the lives of others. The impact we make isn't measured by the trophies we collect, but by the hearts we touch. Every time you choose kindness over bitterness, generosity over selfishness, understanding over judgment, you're leaving a mark on the world. And it's not always the big, dramatic gestures that make the biggest impact. Sometimes it's the small moments. The smile you give someone when they're having a rough day, the way you stop to listen to someone who feels ignored, the encouragement you offer to someone who's about to give up. Legacy is about building a ripple effect of positivity, kindness, and inspiration. These small actions may not seem significant in the moment, but they have a lasting impact. You never know how a simple word of encouragement can change someone's life. You never know how a random act of kindness can shift someone's perspective. These moments matter. And legacy is also about the future. You may not see the full impact of your actions today, but when you plant seeds of wisdom, love, and integrity, they will grow in ways you can't predict. You might never see the fruits of your labor, but that doesn't mean it's not making a difference. Think about the people in your life who helped shape you. Maybe they weren't perfect, but they left an impression that has carried you through tough times. They may not have had the recognition they deserved, but their influence continues to live on in you. That's the power of a true legacy. So the question is, what kind of legacy are you building? Are you living with intention, focusing on leaving a positive impact on the people around you? Are you pouring into the lives of others, even when it's hard or uncomfortable? Are you choosing to leave behind something greater than material success, a legacy of love, integrity, and strength? Your legacy isn't something that comes after you're gone. It's something you create with every step you take, every decision you make, and every life you touch. The world needs your legacy. The people around you need it. Your family, your community, your friends, they need your love, your wisdom, and your example. Legacy is not something you leave behind. It's something you live every single day. Your legacy will be what endures long after you've taken your last breath. It's up to you to decide what it will be. You were sent to earth with something the world needs. And until you discover it, develop it, and deliver it, you are not done. The richest place on earth is not the oil fields, it's the cemetery where dreams were buried, books never written, visions never lived. Don't die full, live your life on purpose. Walk in your personal success, and make sure when you leave this world, you've made it better than you found it. The time is now.